What if I told you Rome didn't fall because of its enemies, but because of the very army that built it? This is the story of how discipline became ambition, how glory bred corruption, and how one of history's greatest military machines turned on itself. Before the empire, Rome's first soldiers. Rome, a city of myths, of ambition, of steel and blood. But the real legend? Wasn't born in marble, it was forged in dust, mud, and iron. Before Rome ruled the world, it was just a collection of hills. Not an empire, not even a republic. Just a vulnerable kingdom built on fear, surrounded by threats. Rome's first soldiers, farmers, landowners, called to war by duty, not profession. They weren't born to fight, they were forced to. At first they mimicked others, mainly Greek phalanxes, hoplites in rigid lines, spears like iron forests. But this wasn't Greece. Italy had forests, hills, ambushes, and so Rome adapted. This was their first genius, to evolve under pressure. The rigid spear walls broke apart. New tactics emerged, maniples, flexible blocks of soldiers that moved, turned, advanced, or fell back independently, not a wall, a wave. But this army reflected Rome's society. The rich got armor and horses. If you couldn't afford gear, you bled first. So, even as Rome's strategy matured, its system was already cracked. Rome overthrew its kings, it became a republic, and that changed everything. Every soldier was now a citizen, and every citizen a voter. Marius, the man who made Rome a war machine, when survival became strategy and soldiers became professionals. By the 2nd century BC, Rome was rich, proud, and militarily exhausted. The citizen-soldier system broke down, campaigns dragged on, farms collapsed, the republic teetered. Then came Gaius Marius, a new man, no noble birth, just ruthless genius. He rebuilt the army, transforming it forever. Military revolutions. He opened the ranks to the poor. Any Roman could now enlist. The dispossessed became soldiers. The army became a home. Replaced maniples with cohorts, 10 unified blocks of 480 men, easier to train, easier to command. Standardized gear and training, gladius, pilum, scutum, drills, endurance. They became Roman in body and mind. Marius didn't just build an army, he created a career. 20 years of service, land at the end, if you survived. But here's the twist. These soldiers fought not for Rome, but for their general. When men follow a man, not a state, what happens when that man wants power? Caesar. He crossed a river. But what he really crossed was a line, charismatic, brilliant, ruthless. He took Marius' blueprint and turned it into a weapon. His legions marched with terrifying speed, night raids, forced marches, instant bridges, logistics like clockwork. He didn't fight wars, he orchestrated them. His soldiers? Not just fighters, engineers, builders, siege masters, devoted to him, not the Senate. They didn't serve Rome, they served Caesar. And when the Senate said stop, he crossed the Rubicon with a single step. The Republic died. After the chaos came order, but peace came on the back of an army. Caesar was dead. The Republic was gone. In its ashes stood Augustus, Rome's first emperor. He turned the legions into a permanent machine. Praetorian Guard, emperor's elite, protectors, and kingmakers, 5,000 men each. Rome no longer feared invasion. It feared its own guardians. Military spending skyrockets. Augustus estimated 65% of state budget. Later emperors estimated 80%. By the 3rd century, near bankruptcy. But gold runs out. The army was now the state, suppressed riots, collected taxes, built roads and aqueducts, gave emperors their throne, or took it away. The Roman army became a miracle of movement. 30 kilometers a day, building camps every night. Weapons were refined, gladius, pilum, scutum, lorica segmentata, caliga, efficient, brutal, iconic. This wasn't just an army, It was infrastructure with swords, but retirement was a dream for many. Only few lived long enough to see their reward. Many died in forgotten outposts. The army gave life meaning, and often took it away. By the time you retired, if you retired, you weren't a man anymore. You were a weapon sheathed in scars. Rome becomes its army. Power rested on the loyalty of soldiers, and when loyalty is bought, everything is for sale. Auxiliaries became the empire's hidden spine. Gauls, Syrians, Germans, Numidians, Britons, they fought for 25 years and became Roman. Soldiers now lived in border forts that grew into towns. They built, taxed, patrolled, married locals, birthed Romanized families. They weren't just warriors, they were the empire itself. But Rome was stretched thin. From Britain to Armenia, supplies lagged, morale cracked, local alliances failed. The price of loyalty, crisis and collapse. Rome conquered with discipline, it collapsed with corruption. 193 AD, the Praetorian Guard kills Emperor Pertinax for trying to enforce discipline. Then, they auctioned the throne to the highest bidder. The army wasn't just for hire, it was for sale. Septimius Severus doubles soldier pay, allows marriage, but debases coinage. Inflation explodes. Rome was now ruled by generals, not senators. The very system that made Rome strong now consumed it. Every sword came with a cost, and in the end, Rome paid in blood. The empire that became its own legion. Rome began with men fighting for farms. It ended with men fighting for coins. From muddy hills to marble palaces, Rome's fate was always tied to its legions. They built it, they ruled it, they bled for it. But in the end, when the empire became the army, and the army became power, it was only a matter of time. If this journey through Rome's legions pulled you in, smash that like, hit subscribe, and tell me in the comments, would you survive 20 years in the legions or lead one into history?